Welcome to Momentum Monday. Today is May 2nd, 2021. What's going on, Howard? How is the leverage going on?
I got a new hat. I got to get you some hats. I got a haircut this weekend. Got a little sun, a little biking. It is May 2nd, dude. Max is 22 last week. Can you believe it? You knew him when he was like, what, 5, 4?
10 years ago, so yeah, he was.
No, you've known me more than 10 years.
Well, 10 years.
That's it?
Yeah.
All right. It's been a long 10 years for you.
I know. You can tell, I aged probably 20.
I know. You look almost like you're 30 now. All right. How is that 45 open? You're back working out?
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah.
All right. All right. I'm in Phoenix. You're in San Diego. No, it's a beautiful day. It's only like 85. Let's get to the markets. I think today's word is inflation.
I mean, inflation, basically, yeah, that's the word for
the
entire year and probably for the next few years. If you remember in our last Momentum Monday in 2020, that's what I said. That's the keyword for 2021.
I'll believe you because you never lie. I've never known you to be a liar.
You watch it. I was in Vegas. You were, I don't know where. And that's what we talked about. And but that doesn't matter because it's that usually comes slowly and then suddenly accelerates.
Ooh, look at you. Yes. I don't know. I mean, I haven't invested my whole life, but this has my attention. There's a great the inflation is mad. Okay, so there's all kinds of conversations that I'm in because I shared this great read from Genevieve, Grit Capital. I'll share the link later, but on my blog tomorrow. But she just had a really great, very digestible piece about history and inflation and her portfolio and how she's thinking. She's a really smart lady, and I'll share it. But there were so many great sound bites. My favorite was, and this has been going around the internet, and obviously you saw this inflation story coming. I wanted to just frame today's episode about this because there is a lot to digest. Bitcoin 60,000, Ethereum 3,000, gold lagging but still up on the year. Nasdaq up, every index is up.
Yeah.
Canada shut down, India shut down. Oh, that's cool. So you've got to look at the crypto, and don't even get me started about the smaller blockchains like I've been talking about. Solana hit 50. I think I brought it up here at 14 a few months ago, and Helium's at 20. I mean, it's bananas. So 20. Let's frame it like this: 20% of total supply of US dollars have been printed in the last, 3 months, 4 months. Okay, even let's say a year. Okay, that's just mind blowing. Okay, so you have the US dollar, which is the reserve currency for now, has been for a long time. Hard to envision. How could even 100-year-old person envision the US not being the reserve currency? And so I'm not going to play that game and predict the end because it's just not impossible to predict. But the conditions are set for a disaster. So as the optimist in me, I don't even want to go there because I'm just trying to just trade out 3 years, not 10 years or 20 years, like every macro person who wants to sound the alarms. But there is every case of a disaster. But we are the reserve currency. So who the hell knows? But we are in an experiment gone mad, if you put it in that context. Also, 41% of U.S. households, a record number, own stocks right now. Or 41%, hang on, I'm going to pull up her stat. Keep going. So Ivan, talk about the markets while I chime in with these crazy stats.
Yeah, we're in the midst of earnings season. Last week we had the big tech reporting earnings, record numbers for the most part. But the market reaction has been a little bit lackluster, with the exception of Facebook and Google.
Just incredible. Like, look at that breakout. There were so many people bearish at like 250. and I just stuck with it. Again, I just think that the FANG, I'll throw out a stat that you get at 7.5 trillion right now, Ivan, is market cap of Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google. All jihading here. Apple's numbers were ridiculous, good. So what is that? It's higher than the GDP of every country in the world, with the exception of the US and
Yeah,
China.
big numbers, but the market didn't really care about them. Most of those numbers were
Not worried though.
already priced in.
Yeah, yeah. So you've got that tech. Keep going.
Yeah, the main indices
Sorry.
continue to.
Sorry, I 41% of total. So everybody's in. 41% of total financial households, total financial assets, highest level on record. Okay, so everybody's in. Obviously, going to be 99, 100%, but that's not going to happen. So we're at 41%. And I saw, Ivan, a great stat, sort of bug you, but I gotta say it.
I'm not surprised, by the way, because I'm
because you predicted
hearing
it. But
conversations about the markets everywhere. I mean, at the beach, probably 1/3 of the people I play volleyball with are talking about the stock market.
True.
A year ago, it was zero. I don't
know if it was zero, Ivan. We were scared. People were scared.
Zero.
It was a different type of chat.
And then about a year ago, I mean, when I go to have brunch somewhere, people behind me are talking about how they put
the fact that you're having brunch is the biggest sign of the bubble.
In cryptocurrency.
From Bulgaria, you were lucky to have a potato a day 50 years ago in Bulgaria. Now you can talk to have brunch. That's how great the U.S. is. But anyways, so last point, because it's interrupt day. But this stat's staggering, okay? Because this is much better at predicting turns at the lows than at the highs. But 96% of the S&P stocks are above their 200-day moving average. Okay, that's bananas. Okay, considering where we were a year ago, and for all these people bragging, and I keep saying this because everybody has. If you don't have good returns, you're an idiot. Okay, like all you had to do is just be long. And now the guy, you know what I'm saying? So like for everybody bragging, and everybody is bragging, I keep trying to say, go look at your neighbor who's up 7,000% more than you. Because the government's forcing your hand here to invest. Cash is ridiculous. And even Warren Buffett won't even admit this because he's lagging the NASDAQ and the DeFi exchange and any modern kind of exchange because he's stuck in old world financial assets, which are fine. It's better than cash, but trailing everybody and throwing Bitcoin and Robinhood under the bus today because 13% of Robinhood traders use weekly options, which is absurd and probably not smart and a form of gambling. But the other stat is 87% aren't. And we should be thrilled that they're in the market to buy all these crappy assets that his generation has stuck us with, like tobacco and oil, and et cetera, as the world innovates right now, as young people innovate. All right, so now the markets. FANG's working. What's working really well?
Well, I didn't say that FANGs are working. I said that they reported earnings. The earnings were record numbers, and the market didn't really care for the most part. I mean, Facebook was
Facebook, Google, Amazon are working.
The internet stocks, but the rest, the market reaction hasn't been that positive. And we talked about it typically during the heaviest 3-4 weeks of earnings season. The indices often go in a range just to digest all that new information. So this is exactly what we're currently seeing. All the main indices are in a range bound, choppy action basically, and a lot of the breakouts have not been working, at least from a swing trading perspective. A lot of them have been faded lately, and this is exactly what typically happens in a range bound market. So that's why last week I said I expect the next 2-3 weeks, the heaviest earnings part of the earnings season, to be range bound. So don't be too aggressive and use too much size if you're a short-term trader. If you're long-term, it just doesn't matter. Earnings is not something that should change.
Yeah, I don't trade earnings myself, but I'm looking for opportunities and new ideas. I think I talked about this a few weeks ago, Ivan, and I'm like, I hate owning this many things, and I'm having friends send me their portfolios, good friends that watch this show, have made a lot of money, and we're all own too many positions. I know you're much more disciplined,
Concentrate. Yeah,
disciplined than I am.
yeah.
I call it discipline. You're just extremely disciplined. I think, is this market been good for you as a swing trader? Because
Yeah,
it just
definitely. Yeah.
okay, good. So people tell me you're doing well. I just haven't followed closely the recently, but I can't believe how many positions I own. I hate myself, but I'm starting to realize that if you own software companies, maybe the more the merrier, because it's like venture capital at this point. You're paying power law even in the public markets, where it's a hypothesis that I have that my returns have gone up. And again, it's not because I'm smart. It's just the more I own, the better I've done. Because if I didn't open my portfolio up to more ideas like Solana and crypto, I'd be lagging because I'm a conservative guy. So the fact that I've allowed myself to hold on to Twilios and some of these software companies while they digest and own more software companies like the crypto, I've managed to continue to outperform, not because of some genius portfolio construction, just because I own more software. So I'm starting to think this public, as cash is trash, and as they pull forward all the spending and money, it's almost like the perfect storm for owning software companies. And as IGV, or as like the typical software company that the index that you and I followed, goes sideways, um, right, for the last 6 months. If not, yeah, it's, you think of that and you go, whoa, why is that not ramping still? Well, software is now so broad that, and what's not included in here is every crypto software, uh, or the semiconductors, which I've always hated as cyclical products, but now are part of creating the money supply, the new money supply, which is digital currency. So anyways, there's all these new hypotheses that I have to start thinking through, because public markets are becoming the poor man's venture capital in many ways because of all this money being printed, right? And as Buffett and all these people buy Coke, and they're going to have to start raising prices. If I look at Coke and Pepsi and Procter and Gamble, how can they not have to raise their prices? Because lumber, copper, sugar, coffee are all exploding higher. So let's look at Coke or Pepsi and go,
Yeah, of
you know,
course.
his
Yeah.
port. Yeah, I mean, like, let's look at Pepsi too. This is
I mean, Buffett is not really comparing himself to the indices. Like he's playing a completely different game.
No, 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 no. I could care less about him talking about his stocks. I just, when he starts trash talking other assets because he doesn't own them, it's a conflict, and it's a conflict of neglect. So I worry about these. Who cares about value stocks like this, or consumer uh, stocks like this? They're going to have to raise prices. The question is, uh, how that affects these stocks, because the demand may drop. But software, it just continues to rotate and be in demand. Anyway, some stocks that looked interesting to me. Twilio's been digesting humongous gains for like a year now. TWLO, I got to imagine they have earnings coming out. Uh, so if you look back at a weekly, they're digesting. So a lot of these software stocks that just had huge runs over the last 2 years have, digested them rather well over the last 6 months. So it'll be interesting to see how they react uh, to earnings, or if they
Yeah,
continue
it's
to.
important where the interest rates are going as well.
Yeah. One thing that's also interesting, medical instruments, which I own, IHI, which is part of my 880. Um, they were struggling early in the year, as was a lot of the healthcare stocks, remember, in February, March, and boom. I think led by Intuitive Surgical. Again, I just don't know the sector, so I own the ETF. But ISRG, just Da Vinci Robots, just continues to be one of those. I wish I had bought the dip type companies, which is finally why, last year I added medical instruments just as an index. Um, what else are you seeing? Healthcare XLV, Ivan, I think more all-time highs.
Well, first of all, let me go back to your question about Pepsi and Coke. Both of them have pricing power because Buffett tends to own businesses with pricing power. So, and that's why they're consumer staples. Even if they raise their prices by 10%, the demand is not gonna decrease. So that would actually be something positive for them.
Okay.
Uh, Healthcare, I mean, nothing to see there. It's just consolidating.
No, but
They
I mean,
did break
it,
out a week or so ago. Now they're pulling back.
yeah.
Nothing
Is
big.
there any way you could show people with the explosion in lumber or copper? Like copper's at 50-year highs or right at 50-year highs.
Yes, we can. Let's go to futures. A quick, let's see. Let's go to metals.
Look
Okay,
at you.
so copper.
I don't know how far back you can go, but
We can go far. We can go to monthly. So
there you go.
basically close to all-time highs on copper.
Yeah.
Lumber, I don't think they're lumber futures. Let's see. So
Maybe softs. It
yeah,
may show, it may show up in housing. It may show up in housing.
yeah, it's insane. That's why the home. I mean, that's not why, but also
Look at that.
home builders
This,
here.
I was reading about this too. A lot of it's because of the '08, like they've just jammed down their inventories because of the panic in '08, the housing crisis. So it's a combination of inflation. Combination also, it's hard to get workers to build a home because they're getting paid $2,000 to stay at home.
Yeah,
And why go do hard labor when you can get paid by the government? And I mean, wow, congrats to the people that speculated there. Look at that move for the six baggers in 6 months in lumber.
yeah, insane.
I mean, somebody got taken to the woodshed. Wow. I mean, this market has something for everybody. This is one of the most fascinating moments to be an investor. I mean, I can't believe I'm looking at a lumber price on Momentum Monday and copper, right?
Yes,
So
yeah.
I think everybody's expecting inflation, right or wrong, that's being priced in right now.
But remember that when you have rising expectations about inflation, they actually tend to impact the real world, and actually expectations tend to cause actual inflation. So
Sure. I mean,
every
it's been mentioned in every conference call. There's a record amount of mentions of inflation in conference calls so far. So, if you say it enough, it happens.
and in
I
the
expect.
meantime, the Fed is totally oblivious, and they say that it's temporary, and everything will mean revert. So that's the if you're a longer term, I guess investor, that's the scary part that the Fed doesn't seem prepared for that. But
Of course they're not. I was with here's an interesting story, Evan, because Phoenix is growing so fast. It's so many smart people are moving here. So in 2008, Phoenix was all commercial real estate. I've joked about it. Here we are in 2020. Alan's, my wife's real estate with her sister, a huge firm. Her sister built a firm over the years, and Ellen rather new to the business and not obviously having to deal with lead gen or anything. Selling an incredible amount of homes for a beginning real estate person. Obviously, really smart, but to be able to move that many homes as a beginning real estate person, Phoenix is real. I've been trying not to joke about this stuff, to be honest. So I travel, right? Like I didn't want to joke about Miami, so I went a couple times. I know you've seen me traveling. I didn't go to, it's all funny on Twitter that I went, but I went to really talk to agents, go to the restaurants, see the traffic myself, talk to people on the ground, because I want firsthand knowledge. It's so easy for me to get to Miami. It's 3 hours away. So now I've been there twice. And sure, I packed in some fun. I did some fishing and hung out with friends, but I was everywhere that I could be because, I want to see Miami and I want to see the beach and see what's really happening. And now I have a fresher understanding of why people would want to go to Miami. And it's a no-brainer why people want to go to Miami. It's fucking nice if you're on the East Coast or if you're in Latin America or if you're in Europe. So we can joke about this stuff, but the migration patterns have changed for the next 100 years because of COVID. And now the migration pattern because of taxes in the United States and state taxes is going to explode in many different things. And America is just a big country. So So just a massive amount of opportunity out there for people that want to do the legwork. And the fact that all of us have brokerages, 10 different brokerages on our phone and can pull up lumber prices on FinBiz or and token prices on FTX and Binance and Coinbase is a miracle of this.
Yeah, and definitely the access to markets has never been easier to the average person around the world, which we cannot say about 10 years ago.
Sure, and the more players, the better. The one thing that Buffett and Munger and Bill, all the people making fun of this is they don't understand because they never played video games. That the more players, the better. So in video games, every video game company has their own platform, Roblox and Tencent and all the Activision and Nintendo and Facebook games and Zynga, right? Guess what? Okay, so they're all trying to, and it's a huge market. Don't get me wrong. And think about the markets. One platform, price and volume. Everybody playing the same game. I just don't think anybody still understands how great that is. Of course, there'll be speculation and silly speculation. A lot of people will lose fortunes, but they've been stupid people and gamblers have lost fortunes for centuries trading. They just didn't have the access that these people have. So I think it's mostly good and could be our saving grace that people can look up prices of pretty much everything. So I really was disappointed in the coverage and just the amount of weight these guys carry. Obviously, the eighth biggest company in the world, so it carries weight, but just the way the media covered it was terrible, in my opinion.
Why are you so frustrated about Buffett and Munger? I mean, you should be happy that they are bad mouthing cryptocurrencies because if they were,
I'm just trying to explain my side.
That would probably be a topping sign.
No. I just think it's important because it's really a bad take. I'm not frustrated. I'm just saying this is the opportunity.
They're talking against the trend, which is great because every trend needs naysayers. So otherwise it will end.
That's why I continue, like as someone who would love to peel off. There's some huge winners, in the crypto space, but when there's this much money avoiding this trend, there's just so much more capital to come into this, is what I'm saying. So I'm not frustrated. I'm like trying to keep myself in this trade, and they're making it hard for me. If they came out and said they were bullish, it would be a little easier to say, "Oh, this trend is getting near the end." I think,
exactly. Yeah. Which platforms are you using for your crypto buying?
I'm using funds, as I've told people. I'm actively looking for more fund managers. I'm not good enough at this. And I'm in a couple funds, and I have a little bit. I play on FTX and Binance and Coinbase, but not in size. Just because
Max actively doing any trade
with Robinhood, she and Coinbase, she's been buying dips on Bitcoin and Ethereum, and while we joke about it, Ethereum. I don't know. Can you pull up the Ethereum?
Yeah, it's
on a relative basis. On a relative basis to Bitcoin, Ethereum is just kicking.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Where was it?
Go to 3,000. There it is at the top.
Charts and
the middle one at the top.
Okay. Here you go.
Well, that's Bitcoin Ethereum, right? So is that an all-time high?
Oh yes, basically. I'm talking about 3 years.
It's like it's starting to perk up versus Bitcoin. But if you just pull up the Ethereum price in US dollars there, pull up the monthly. I mean,
the monthly.
Okay. So
okay, here we go.
You can see here, it's kind of like I think I look at Ethereum and I look at an Amazon chart, and I'll pull up, now this is over 3 years versus Amazon. Go pull up a lifetime Amazon chart. Because there's a lot of, obviously compress it for time, but there's a lot, Amazon being the platform for e-commerce and for AWS. If you look at that period between 1999 and 2009 with AWS, and you look at that pullback, right? And then you look at, so Ethereum, and I think Ethereum is the closest like if that price chart is compressed because it's all software, right? But if you look at that chart of Ethereum, you're just starting to see the 2009, breakout, right? Everything's compressed, and so I don't, and there's only one Ethereum, right? There is some copycats like Solana, um, and that I've talked about, and Polkadot. Um, but Ethereum, and there's Flow, which is Dapper Labs, but Ethereum continues to amaze because everything's being contracted and scored against the Ethereum blockchain. So very interesting moment. I think it's a lot like that bear market in crypto in 2018, 2019, almost most of 2020 is like the 10-year NASDAQ bear market. Everything's just compressed. And again, this could be another bubble. And I think some of the frenzy is scary, but I don't think we've seen stuff like this before. So who knows? And that lumber thing blew my mind. And the amount of US dollars being printed blew my mind because we're in like some kind of world. How are you playing it right now? You're just long only?
Well, I'm not playing lumber. Well, I continue
No, I
to.
mean, how are you playing the markets right now? You're long only?
I do both.
I know, but are
Not
you
shorts,
mostly?
but the shorts I usually do with put options, so I better manage my risk, so I know exactly how much I have at risk. So
Yeah. And how are things in like are you looking to buy something still or move or no?
in San Diego,
Yeah,
uh,
like you're
I mean,
thinking.
yeah, eventually I would like to buy something, but the current prices just don't make sense. Who knows? Maybe they'll go higher.
No, but what you were thinking of Nevada? Nothing.
No, no way, not for me.
Okay, and then what about the streets? Are they busy?
Streets are super busy. Yes, people are out spending money, and that's why last week probably we started seeing quite a few restaurant stocks breaking out.
Which ones? McDonald's did, which I'm long.
Not McDonald's, but like
Yeah, McDonald's broke the
big,
all-time highs.
those all those chains like the steakhouses, Roots, BLMN, uh,
Huh.
quite a few of them starting to break out. Obviously, as the market is pricing in that unpent demand. Might expect as more people get vaccinated, more people are going to go out and spend. But at the same time, it seems as of right now, the market doesn't care about the other side of the equation, which is rising prices, rising input prices, rising wages, which at some point is going to start, make a difference. But as of right now, it's all, giddy up, basically.
Yeah, I'm long McDonald's. I worry about like you said, they don't have the price. I mean, somehow they can keep a McMuffin at $1, but for how long? Like I look at McDonald's chart, which I'm long, and I'm like, it's been the wrong restaurant stock tone, but uh, it's just doing it the best. And 55 years old, I still love. There's something on the menu for me. I went biking this morning. I got my coffee on my stupid. I don't even check the price, and it's just so efficient, and everybody's so lovely, and the coffee's better than Starbucks. So,
You're saying that every time we should do a blind tasting, Howard.
yeah,
It's
I like McDonald's milk. I like McDonald's milk. It's kitty milk. All right, what else was I going to ask you? Some restaurants. India.
India is in trouble, as we know, because of COVID. I don't know how their stock market is doing. Let's see.
That's what I want to check.
Range, basically.
Pretty strong considering like the horror stories I'm hearing.
Yeah, but percentage-wise, their numbers are not bigger than the numbers in the US or in Europe. So they're just 1.3 billion people. So in the media, as always.
If you're just calmly wisping off hundreds of thousands of dead Indians.
No, I'm not. Every life counts. I'm just saying that percentage-wise, their numbers are not bigger than the percentage number in the rest of the world.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. There was a tad.
And obviously, there is a reason the vaccine stocks have done so well, right?
Yeah, Moderna. Yeah, you're right. What a great company. Just
Moderna, NVIX broke out last week. Even though they're a protein-based vaccine, they're not mRNA. AstraZeneca is not. They have way too many other products for that.
That Lake, that hazardous material company, Lake. When I missed that beauty.
Well, there've been so many
Oh,
companies that you missed, but
I went to
you're still doing fine, Howard. You're missing 99% of the big winners, and you're still doing fine. So
yeah. No, MSOS. So this is one that I've been
yes, it's perking up lately. Yeah.
very interested in this. So that's one I've reinitiated buying some, and then Farfetch is my luxury brand. After the Chinese whatever guy blew up, whatever the hell his name is, I'm super bullish here on this platform still. But obviously, you know, got the China overhang, even though it's not a Chinese company. All right, I think we've covered a lot. Thanks for putting up with me tonight, Ivan. It's just a really interesting moment. But like the amount of stocks above their 200, I don't think. I mean, I'd rather it's a much better trading signal when zero are trading above their 200-day to buy versus trying to time a top. So I just think, you know, because we haven't seen numbers like this before and there's so much money flowing in, it's not necessarily a bearish thing, but you know, it's hard for stocks to do much better than they have been.
I think in the next decades, we're going to see other markets growing very quickly. It's not going to be only about stock market speculations. There will be NFT probably in real estate, in art. All those markets are probably going to get huge. So people will speculate in so many different markets. It's not going to be just about the stock market. But
well, I think I tend to disagree a little bit just because of liquidity. Look at GameStop. That is an NFT, Ivan. It's not trading. If you pull up GME, it's still
it counts. It'll
but
count.
it's an NFT. It's not trading on any kind of fundamental. It's got a 99 relative strength.
We need a different show on NFT. Let's end with this because it's getting too long.
Okay. See you.
Yeah, see you.
You're being mean to me.
I'm not.